What's up out there, guys, and welcome to the Journey to a Million podcast. Today, what is today? Let's see. Friday, January 7th. So I normally do these videos on my computer, but today it's just going to be a little bit shorter. I just got a new iPhone and I really like the speaker on it. That's one of the main things that I like is how crisp the speaker sounds. So I just wanted to make one today, and you probably will hear some background music on this. So we'll see how that video goes. But not really much I can say about crypto at this point. It's Bitcoin is now at about 41K, and I'm probably going to sell if it drops beyond like 38, 39. A lot of my positions. It's been a good year so far. I'm about up 3.5x from where I started. It could have been a lot more. But I've scaled into positions, and I think biggest lesson learned is sell at the top, or sell when you're way up, because I think if I would have sold a little bit more and I learned so much about what to hold and how long to hold stuff. I definitely think that I could have 2 to 3x what I've done right now, but it's just hard to know when you're at the top and when to sell. But I definitely learned that through this bull cycle, and we'll see if it continues into 2022. If it does, all bets are off. But now everyone's kind of in this holding position where everyone's very fearful. But you know what they say, be greedy when everyone is fearful. I just know everyone's kind of at this point of uncertainty with the market, the economy. So it's just really kind of hard to tell what to do at this point. So I'm happy with where, if I walked away today and just waited to reinvest for the next run, I'd be pretty happy with that. But I definitely think I could have done a lot better, and I'll try to take those lessons that I learned and apply those, make a video on that for another time. But interestingly as well, Happy New Year, by the way. I left my notebook with all my tracking of the sports betting versus investing challenge at the office, so I need to get that on Monday. But I know we're up about 10 to 20% on each of our accounts, crypto and invest and sports betting. Remember, as we say every time, for legal purposes, this is just an imaginary account. So we're just doing this as an exercise, but we're just going to dive right in. I didn't make a video last week. I would have probably taken some of the SEC games in a teaser, because I could have gotten Alabama down to just to win or something like that. It was close to that. And then Georgia was minus 13.5. I would have taken them down to 6.5. So that would have been a win. I didn't even really look at the NFL lines too much. But it's just good to take a week off and kind of enjoy some time for the holidays. So looking at this week of games, week 18 is kind of a lot of uncertainty as well. That's the theme of the week in crypto and sports, is a lot of uncertainty going into the playoffs. As for the NFL, and there are some games, but as we say, when everything is a favorite, that's kind of a red flag. So we'll see how these games turn out, but I'm still riding with what I'm doing. I think as of the last week we were down about 100, just because we were up 300 or 200, and then we lost 100 the last week that we did this, because I think we went 2-2, and then we had our 2 parlays. So diving right in, we're going to start off with the Cardinals minus 6.5 at home versus the Seahawks. Sorry to my Seahawks. I think they had a great game last week, but the Cardinals, I think, will not let them run the ball the whole time with Rashad Penny. They definitely shut down Zeke, and they played really well against the Cowboys. I was very impressed with their performance against the Cowboys. So that being said, I think them minus 6.5, we're going to put that in a teaser with the Bengals, and the Bengals are minus 6 at home or at the Browns. And the Browns definitely put it to the Bengals last time. I just think they're kind of ready to give up on the season almost. Watching them play on Monday night, it just looked like they didn't have any answers on offense. And, given the way that the Bengals offense has played lately, Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow and, almost everyone else has been unstoppable. So based on the way that they've played recently, I'll take my chances on the Bengals just to win. So we're putting them from minus 6 to plus 1. So they could even tie the Browns, which is unlikely to happen. But I do feel confident that both, these teams will walk away with victories, even though the other teams they're playing are very up and down, as we've seen of late. But, one thing about Baker, it seems like every time people count him out, he does seem to step up, and he's playing with a chip on his shoulder, an extra chip on his shoulder this week. I think he's pissed off, but at the same time, I don't see the Browns passing attack. Their Jarvis Landry's their number one receiver. He's a slot guy. DPJ, Donovan Peoples-Jones, is probably going to be locked in on. They're just kind of a slow offense, whereas the Bengals are just, going up and down the field. But Joe Burrow's in the zone right now. So I think the Bengals win this one, and I think the Cardinals are a much better team than the Seahawks, and they will definitely get a home win here to close out the season is what I think. So we're going to put 130 to win 100 on that. Next up, we're going to take the Chiefs -11 and the Cowboys -3. Chiefs are at the Broncos. Broncos offense, I think Drew Lock is starting again. Either way, I just don't see the Broncos offense again. They're kind of in the same boat as the Browns. They have a good defense, and they tend to play the Chiefs better at home. But the Chiefs, they're coming off a loss, and I think, if they put up 20 points, they'll probably win by at least 4 or 5, So I don't see the Broncos scoring more than a couple touchdowns on them. They looked inept last week, the Broncos offense against the Chargers, and the Chargers are one of the worst defenses in the NFL. So, that says a lot right there. All right, so Chiefs -11, putting them down to -4, and then the Cowboys -3. This one kind of scares me a little bit at the Eagles. It's a divisional game, heavy rivalry, a lot of bad blood there, but I definitely think the Cowboys, in the last time they played against the Eagles, they showed that they were a much more talented team, and then coming off a loss, I think they want to finish strong going into the playoffs. So I think this one will be close, but if you get the Cowboys from -3 to +4, I definitely think they can at least lose this one by a field goal, but they're more likely to win. So let's put another 130 to win 100 on that. Then closing it out, we have the Bucks and the Rams. So the Bucks are at home against the Panthers. As we saw from the Bucks last week, they can lose to almost any team. They're very up and down, but they definitely play a lot better at home. But they did play the Panthers recently, and it wasn't even a game. They were relying on Antonio Brown, who's gone now, and then Ronald Jones, who's also probably injured. I haven't even looked, but I'm not concerned. I think Keyshawn Vaughn might actually be the running back throughout the playoffs, and he could be better than Ronald Jones. I think Tom Brady has seemed tired of Ronald Jones lately and just hasn't been producing. I think he threw a touchdown a couple weeks ago to Ronald Jones, or at least a pass going to the pylon, and Ronald Jones didn't even look back to see the ball. So I definitely think there's just something that tells me Tom Brady wants Keyshawn Vaughn to be that running back, that starting running back. And he's got these guys I just think he's going to say, hey, let me turn all these guys like Cyril Grayson, Tyler Johnson, Rashad Perryman into these household names through the playoffs and put on this crazy run. I think he wants to kind of do that through the playoffs and show that, it's not necessarily all the receivers. He's doing just as much as they are. I definitely think he's going to be in a tougher spot throughout the playoffs, but I do think he could get back to the Super Bowl. I'm never going to doubt Tom Brady as far as getting to a Super Bowl. He always seems to find a way. But that being said, I don't think it's an issue that the Bucks are without Ronald Jones if they are versus the Panthers. They handled the Panthers easily. The Panthers couldn't even move the ball against the Saints, which you could argue that the Bucks couldn't either a couple weeks ago. But I definitely think the Bucks -8.5 at home would put them down to -1.5. And then the Rams -4.5 against the 49ers. So the Rams have kind of looked up and down lately. I don't think they played their best game against the Ravens. And the 49ers beat the Texans, but the 49ers did not look that good. They couldn't even really score in the first half. I don't know if Jimmy G or Trey Lance is going to start, but I think the 49ers will just try to run the ball the whole time. And I think the Rams are one of those teams, when you put them in SoFi Stadium, they play their best football. They're just clicking. So I think in this game, their passing attack is going to be on point, and they're going to be able to move the ball in the 49ers, put up about 24 points, and that's going to be enough to win. So we have to have them win or lose by 2, because they're going to be +2.5 after the teaser. So Bucks -1.5, and then Rams +2.5, 130 to win 100. So we got 3 games this weekend. We're also going to do a parlay. We're going to do the Cardinals -6.5, Cowboys -3, Bucks -8.5, and Rams -4.5. I feel the most confident about those to cover. And we're going to do 50 to win 500. So it'd be nice to close one of those out on the regular season before we head to the playoffs. So this is still going to be going into the playoffs. And I think one thing I'm definitely looking forward to is kind of previewing a lot of these playoff games. I think I'm just going to do that as like a side fun thing because I love NFL playoffs as far as how big the games are and, you know, kind of how unpredictable and they can go in. And we'll dig into that more next week for Wild Card Weekend. But yeah, so that's it for this week. Hopefully crypto bounces back by the next time we talk. But yeah, it's looking a little dicey out there and we might have to close up our positions to start off 2022. You know, if that's the case, it is what it is. But, you know, it's been a good run through 2020 and 2021. So you'll have a great start to your 2022. I will see you later.